Hey guys, what's up? Shadowlands back for another video. Today, I wanted to make a video on the state of the game of combat arms. Now, I'm going to apologize ahead of time. I've had a bit of allergy stuff recently, so my voice may sound a bit off, but I'm going to make this video, and I hope you guys are really going to enjoy this. I've gone over a lot of different topics here that I thought would be important to include, and I wanted to start off with what made combat arms popular in the first place. Well, think back to like 2007, 2008. Like, we're talking even the beta era. Well, when the game first came out, it was really popular because, for one, it was free to play. But also, it had lots of maps, lots of guns, and it had a lot of advertising. So there were a lot of players. A lot of people were coming by Nexon to try it out. Nexon already had the hit game MapleStory, and people were like, oh, it'd be kind of cool if they did a sort of an FPS game. And then this game came along and seemed to satisfy that itch. Now, the other thing that was really nice about it, and the reason it kept a lot of people coming back, is because it had a very simple system for leveling and obtaining gear. It made it very easy for people who both didn't have a lot of time to invest in the game, and for people who just wanted to play it really competitively to get along and play very well together. Now, because it was so popular, the company thought they could get away with a few things. Really expensive weapons. We all remember paying $30 for a sniper rifle. We still do it. It was a hardcore pay-to-win game. That doesn't mean you couldn't play it without it, but if you wanted to actually have a chance of competing with people who actually bought these weapons, you'd have to go buy them yourself, or at least have a lucky enough chance to get them to drop. Anyway, it was hard to obtain even the best gear, even if the concept to get a hold of it was simple, like just open a crate or hope for it to drop here. It was actually pretty hard to go ahead and actually get that gear, even if the concept was simple. There were very few weapon rebalances in the early part of the game. Like, they wouldn't rebalance weapons for 6 months at a time, or even longer than that. On top of that, there were very few and no map repatches. So if there was an issue with a map, like a peeking area, for one, which didn't get fixed until recently, which is honestly kind of sad given how old the game is, there were very few repatches for the maps to make them balanced and fair. It's like once a map was released, it would be that way for quite a while. Anyway, what they should have had from the start. This is my kind of most important section. This is the kind of stuff that should have been present in the game from day one. Like, coming out of beta, this should have been there. What we now have is the pure combat mode. We should have had that from day one. We should have had a competitive but balanced area where we could play. I don't want to call it non-competitive because the whole point of it is to make it competitive, but make it a level playing field. And although there's obviously still some quirks and stuff that need to be put into that and fixed, it's looking pretty good. I'm going to say I'm very impressed with their pure combat mode. I think it should have been in the game from day one. I think we also should have had access to everything in the shop, like being able to buy all of the NX weapons from day one. Like, and when I say access to everything, I mean having access to the recon vest, having access to everything for permanent from day one that we could buy. So, like, why would you want to lock off parts of the shop that you have paying customers for? I think that could have helped keep the game afloat for a little while longer, because quite frankly, we're on a sinking ship right now. Also, I think we should have had a lot more PvE activities. Now, I realize that primarily first-person shooters are PvP games where you play against other people. Now, I think that's also kind of important to have, though, is to have PvE activities, co-op modes. Cabin Fever was a really solid game. I still love hopping on and playing Cabin Fever. It's a fun game mode. Black Lung was a great addition to it. But from the start, we should have had a lot more maps. We should have had a lot more PvE opportunities. We should have had more maps for Cabin Fever type game modes, zombie game modes. We should have had more Desert Thunder, because for the longest time, for the first half of the game's current lifespan, all we had was Cabin Fever and Desert Thunder. That was it. And for a while, they were used for grinding pretty heavily, but even then, that was very time-consuming. We needed more gameplay. We needed more places to play those game modes. And I think they delivered that in the end, and now we have quite a bit of options. But from the start, we should have had more. And I feel like they could have put more time into that, and it would have retained a few more players over the course of the years. Anyway, the final thing I wanted to put out is the ability to buy everything for perm. Now, I may have mentioned that earlier, but the difference that I'm saying now is the ability to buy GP weapons for perm. We should have been able to buy the Tango 51 from perm since the day it came.